So, men everywhere, and it's starting in the West, but it's gradually moving across the globe, are losing their identity. And this isn't actually a bad thing, it's actually a really good thing. And I'm going to explain why. So, throughout history, men have always had these identities: protector, leader, warrior. Being a part of society meant something. You could be the town blacksmith or the town farmer. And so, because of the internet didn't exist and there wasn't everyone sharing their identities and what they are, what it means to be a man, you were really given the identity of what it meant to be a man, to be a father, to be a husband, to be a provider. You were born into a religion that you accepted, and you didn't really question that, because to question that would be to leave the tribe. But what I'm saying is that you had an identity and you lived and died in this identity. And this has existed since the dawn of time. What has changed that? Well, it's been the advent of the internet. And it's been the fact that somebody can buy a land, be a guru, and share, this is what it means to be a man, this is what it means to be successful, is to be rich, is to have all of these cars. And then they share that, and then other men see that and say, oh, that's what it means to be a man. And then you have tons of different pockets of people throughout the world sharing what it means. What does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be this? What this means? What the meaning of life means? And so this really grew so fast that humans haven't really had the ability to kind of look at everything and think for themselves, like, what how do I decide, how do I like interpret all of this information? It's kind of like analysis paralysis, right? It's like going into a restaurant and the menu has like a million different options. It's like menus that have less options are make it easier for people to choose. Why do you think Chipotle's menu is so limited? They actually did a study on this. They found that they told two groups of people to paint a painting. And one group, they said after they painted it, they said you can change it. And the other group, they said you can't change it. And the group that they said couldn't change it, they were just stuck with their painting, was actually the happiness. They were much happier with their painting because they didn't have the option to change it. And so with the internet, you're given the option, you're giving endless options and to be anything you want. And because people can be anything they want, they end up being really nothing. And or their entire lives, they're like, what does it mean to be a man? No one ever questioned this, but now we have the red pill movement. We have, spiritual revival movements of basically just rebranded guruism. We have the lectures of Jordan Peterson that are all, they're giving men what they crave, which is a framework, an identity, things that society has largely starved them of. But it's not, it falls short of true awakening, because it's really taking you from one framework and it's just putting you in another, right? Over here you feel powerless, but over here you feel more powerful than, right? And that's really what the red pill is. It's like, okay, you've been screwed by society. The antidote to that is to get in shape, get a lot of money, get a lot of cars, and become Andrew Tate, and then that'll escape the matrix. But you don't escape the matrix by doing that. You just put yourself into another matrix. So we're seeing everywhere that this identity collapse is really what's transpiring is men everywhere are being like, okay, well, if I'm not my job, and if I'm not the protector or provider, then who am I? And that's the beginning of true awakening. Who you are isn't your name. It's not your job. It's not how much money you have. It's not all of these things that you believe that you are. Who you are is much deeper than that. You're the awareness that's asking that question. And so when you realize that all of these things, right, all of these identities, don't make up who you really are, and they don't make you any better or worse in society. Meaning, for example, when I see a lot of these movements and I see men in the red pill society, and I see men in these spiritual revival, just be a man, masculine archetype communities, and I see people really going overboard with the teachings of Jordan Peterson, what I am seeing is these men have felt insignificant in the eyes of society or in the eyes of their families. And in that pain and out of that feeling like they're not seen, like they're not heard, like they didn't make a substantial impact, is this mask, this fake persona of confidence and togetherness and assertiveness. And it's not real, because when you realize that you don't need to do anything or achieve anything to become successful, because you just are successful, you just already are, even if you do nothing, because your success is in your identity, and your identity is in being a child of God, and you don't need to do anything to achieve that. You just are. You could just sit on this couch and just be. And when you realize that you don't have to build an empire, you don't have to start a movement, you don't have to start a revival, you don't have to do anything to feel significant. You can just be, go chill on the beach. Then at first, okay, for one, I'll say it like this. To get to a place like that is very difficult, because it requires you to let go of everything that you think you are, right? I am this name and I have to do this to feel good enough, to feel significant enough. And if that drives your actions, even if you get what you want, it's never going to feel enough. It's never going to be enough, because the ego has an unquenchable thirst for power, success, and it's really there in your head to just keep you running on a hamster wheel. That's why these people never feel like they can relax. I don't know how to meditate. They'll often say that. I don't like sitting in a hammock, because they don't like to sit in silence, because in that silence, it feels very uncomfortable for them. So they often just run around and think and do and just continue to wear different masks of identity to try to outrun their own subconscious and their own internal shame, because of not feeling significant enough in society. And so when I see these movements, I don't criticize them. I see that they're pursuing something that society has not been able to give them. But what I would say, the antidote to that is to have a true awakening. And when you are able to sit in stillness, sit in silence, and just close your eyes and be, and observe your thoughts, observe that desire to want to become someone powerful, or realize you don't need to become someone, you already are that. You don't need to become successful, you already are that. You don't need to do anything significant, you already are that. This video doesn't need to get 1 million views in order for me to feel good about myself. I already feel that. When you can understand that that's the truth about who you really are, then the need to become someone of any sort of, the need to have applause, or the need to have money or cars or do something significant, that need just falls away, and what's left is peace. Because you realize the thoughts that were telling you to achieve that and pursue that weren't even real. They were just conditioned thoughts that were conditioned and told by you from society, from maybe family. You need to make more money, or look at your brother, he's successful, or look at this person, or she should have married up, why did she marry you? All of this stuff. You're ugly, you're fat, you're not good enough, you're a sinner, you're this, you're that. All that stuff makes up what you and who you think you are, which isn't really even you. It's just a bunch of thoughts that you think is you. And when you realize, when you sit in stillness and you meditate, and you realize, and you let all that stuff fall away, you realize who you are is something that is, you already are everything you're trying to become, right? Jesus says the kingdom is within you. What does that mean? Well, everything you're trying to do and become is already within you. You already possess it. You're running around believing that you don't have, or you're not who you would like to be, when you already are, but you believe that you're not. And so you're in the red pill community, or what does it mean to be a man, or I need to read Andrew Tate and all this stuff. I need to get rich and flex. Then society will worship me, will see me. But it's just a big Rube Goldberg machine, right? You're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off, when you just sit down, shut up, and just be. And in that, you realize you are and have everything you want and desire. And it's the most freeing thing there is. It's the most peaceful thing there is. It's everything you're longing for and everything that money can't buy. Anyway, if you like this video, smash the subscribe button, comment below. I love hearing the comments, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.